Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new Coffee and Crypto. Today we're speaking with Konstantin. He's, I think, one of the first Radix believers, yeah, I think so, right? So we're gonna be
One of the earlier ones, yes.
one of the early ones, yes. We're gonna be speaking a lot about his experience, how he's been progressing through this hard work for Radix through the years. And also, we're going to be speaking later a little bit about delay at this token, this meme token that was launched. And I think there's good things to talk about that because we both are going through the same process. You on a different one versus me, but I mean everything is similar, and there are some things that is hidden over our heads, right? So welcome very much, Konstantin. How are you today?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm good. Just as I mentioned to you in the mic test phase, I'm a little bit. I should that coffee beans look amazing on your background. I should have had a coffee. I just didn't have the time. But now I'm sitting down. This is actually, believe it or not, is my relaxed moment of the day. So if the
Nice.
audience and you can forgive me, I will be very chilled in this interview because it was a high-paced day today. But now is all relaxed.
Yeah, it's afternoon for you, so almost getting there to
Yeah,
get
4 p.m.
and relax. For me, it's just the beginning, so it's gonna be
You're all pumped.
yeah. I'm just starting. I have here my coffee as well because I just got breakfast and prepared to start the day. So
Enjoy it.
first of all, Konstantin, if you can please to my audience speak a little bit about you. Who are you? How did you start in crypto, and then how did you start in Radix, if you will?
Yeah, so I started pretty early in crypto. I was a very early Bitcoin miner. I remember
Wow.
setting it up one at the time where I was still living in Austria. Now I live in Portugal. But yeah, those fine days when I was selling tens of Bitcoin to pay the regular electricity bill, right? Only
Man.
with the knowledge today, I might have
Yeah.
paid that from somewhere else and then just kept all of it. But yeah, that's then it progressed. I actually was a serial entrepreneur. I had multiple businesses. A main business location was Austria. I was at that time in entertainment, family entertainment. We had one of the biggest networks of family indoor entertainment parks, trampoline parks, laser tag arenas, and such. And
Wow.
obviously, then it was always my belief. I had a master plan of restarting my life because after the financial crisis around 2010, we moved.
Mhm.
Me and my wife, me moved out to Austria, and we really started from scratch. So I have, from that time on, I have 2 to 3 years of working 10 to 11 hour shifts in a place where after a 9 hour shift, 2 to 3 hours were actually cleaning as well. So it was a fresh start, right? I didn't speak
Yeah.
the language. I had to learn German at that time there, and I always knew that I need to break out, and for me to do that, I really needed to reset who I was. I had a bunch of other businesses before, but obviously after the financial crisis, I had to start everything from scratch. Thankfully, no debts, but quite from zero, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I eventually, after a few years, I turned out to own that big park where I was working. I started as the lowest level, and I got higher and cashier, and then some small boss, and then a bigger manager, and then CEO, and then it got integrated within the whole network of entertainment. So I'm very proud of that.
Wow.
And that was just the first phase. After that phase, I always envisioned myself of, okay, earning good amount of income, but all that income needs to be invested. And I invested in a bunch of stuff, right? So a lot of mistakes have been made as well. And one of these investments was crypto, buying the Bitcoin miners.
Mhm.
and then partnering up with somebody who had spare electricity in his factory, and I will set it up the whole business in the basement. And I started with just a few machines, and that eventually got more and more. But again, tons of mistakes. Like I mentioned, selling tens of bitcoins to pay electricity, or not thinking about heat. Now we all know these things, right? Everybody who is into mining knows, cooling is a very important aspect of Bitcoin mining. I cooked a bunch of miners. I melted a few. So they're learning the usual learning curve. And then after I got into the mindset of, investing and actually attending to my investments, I started moving more and more towards the investment side of things, mostly in IT. I learned to be a programmer originally. Few people know this, but I actually didn't finish university. I even did my diploma work. Everything was done. It's just one thing was missing, and I said, I actually start a business. So I started a business at that time. But I actually, since that day, I'm constantly learning. I just decided not to learn in the form of university, right? So even to this day, I have audiobooks every day. If I have half an hour, I try to learn. Although now I use ChatGPT to learn, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
You can ask
helped
questions.
a lot.
Yeah. Long story short, I invested more in IT, gaming, non-crypto gaming, so traditional gaming, and then obviously crypto projects. And as everybody else, had my first success and also the mistakes that we've learned, obviously, by not cashing out enough. But I still had a strict plan which I followed. This was the last cycle. And then already at that cycle, I was doing more and more professional investments, meaning buy contracts and not buying crypto off of exchanges, but having agreements with teams, following the development, doing the best that I can to help those companies evolve. And with this, I was involved in the Polkadot ecosystem and in the Tezos ecosystem, although not as Konstantin. I'm only doxing myself for whatever reason in Radix. There is no clear reason why. It's just it turned out to be that way. And this is then how actually we were running the biggest node, validator node, amongst many things on the Tezos ecosystem last cycle. And one of the tech guys said, "Hey, have you heard about Radix? It's amazing what they are promising." And this was the first
Start.
the start of this interesting journey, right? So then I got to understand it more and more. I obviously partook in the ICO, and since then I had after the ICO I still had two other reinvestments, so to say, in the ecosystem.
Wow.
And now, not anymore, right? So I'm good. I wouldn't say I'm overexposed, but I have a nice exposure to Radix. But what I'm still doing to this day is different types of investment, as I surely have mentioned already multiple times, because I am proud of it, right? So I'm really I really love this whole ecosystem. We grew together with this ecosystem, and I feel I have a sense of prideness in being an active player. So this is why I shield myself so much. But the reason is this is the reason why I invested, and I try now with X assets as much as I can. I bring over to the network, as well as provide liquidity to key dApps. And then I had that click on the bathtub where I was just relaxing, and I said, okay, let's see how this really fun works. And then I created Delay because I didn't have enough things to do. But
yeah, I guess you were like bored at some point of man.
yes,
That's crazy. You're a crypto guy that just don't have enough.
yeah. So yeah,
Wow,
this is my
nice. So
story.
very nice story. I think it's really teach a lot to several of us. I remember back in 2020-ish, I started reading a lot of books. Well, a lot of audiobooks, and I remember that I heard so many times that whenever you get wealthy and you start making a lot of money, most of the times you then go to bankrupt and then start all over
Yes,
again. So it's where you can either go to hell or recover and do it much
recover.
better.
Yeah, you know.
And
The
yeah,
thing is, what I would like to interject even here, since you brought it up, I don't usually mention this, but during all this time, so this I portrayed my life story as being linearly going up. Right in the middle, one of the biggest businessmen he's a well-known businessman in Austria, and this is really a long story. It's a very juicy one, but it's a long story. Um, Kind of forced me and my partner into signing a document which was a catastrophe for me. So I actually, at that time, I basically signed a debt which was 3 times the amount of wealth that I've accumulated. So I thought, okay, I'm
wow.
the king of the world. I learned the language. I moved into this new country. Everybody said they don't like Outlanders so much, so you have no chance. And I know I still got, I was cleaning a few years ago. Now I'm here. And from that point on, a big, big crash, which actually created even a lot of health issues and family issues, as it should, right? Because it was a big dramatic event. So and then I needed to recover from that as well. So it's really it's like the Bitcoin chart. So just to
Yeah.
add to this, even in the middle there was a big mistake. It was my signature. I decided to sign that. Again, long story. It's a boring one if it's told to somebody else. For me, it's obviously a key aspect of my life, right? But yeah, this is life. So that Bitcoin chart is basically life. It's
Yes.
nothing new about that, right?
Yeah, that's totally agree. And something similar happened to me, but I'm not on the phase that you are right now. I'm on the starting up again after my big crash. I mean, not to compare because I think you're on major leagues, but on last cycle I was able to make $1 million and then lose $1 million. So a lot of learning from that, and I had to go back to work, regular work for 2 years to start making money again and putting money into Bitcoin and crypto. I mean, overall, and now I'm able to leave my work again, starting this 2025, and trying to make it happen again and learn from the mistakes. So yeah, it's something I think very common that happens to
It's
everybody.
very
I
common.
remember when I
It's
was reading
very
that,
common.
I said, "Oh, those stupid guys that have a lot of money and lose it all." Yeah.
Exactly the same. Lost it twice. Lost it twice. We
Yes.
are we are just we just we just try to be the best version of ourselves. There is not really too
Yes.
much that we can do about it. And this is fun. I love this because it's so easy to talk about success, and that is so it's I wouldn't call it fake, but because these stories are not fake. So if you
Mhm.
just really if I just tell the aspects of my life which are tied to success, of course, but I went through hell. I went through the deepest
Oh yeah.
paths of hell, and then I went through something else which if we are at the topic, I would still like to mention. I had a time where I literally for my own perception, I had much more in terms of money than I could have ever grasped, and it was there. It was at my reach, right?
Mm.
And suddenly I realized I don't feel any more excitement in my life, and I literally I didn't need to do anything because I had it all there, right?
Yeah.
And that was such a devastating moment. That was one of the worst. And I know what people will think, because if I would hear this story back a few years ago, I would say, "Oh, come on, shut up! Don't start whining that you had too much." But actually, to take away your drive, to take away your main drive, and I didn't know this, that making money, being successful, was one of my main drivers. And if you just hand me over that, okay, here it is, congratulations, you won. Actually, oh my God, that was terrible, right? So I had to recalibrate myself. Okay, so who am I? What else do I want to achieve other than money, right? Because I was I was born in Transylvania, so I come from a background which has scarce resources, and we needed to make it with those limited amount of resources. I didn't inherit anything. I had very nice parents. They supported me, no question about that. But I had no gifts from life, right? So I had to
Yeah.
dig out everything by myself. And then when you reach that point, so this is a very, very important aspect of life, even in this journey, while we still try to grow, to appreciate this chart that we have, this up and down, is amazing. This is life. If you do everything and it's success and success is success, not only it becomes boring, it takes away the essence of life, right? One of my main
Mhm.
analogies, the love, I love this analogy, is like playing a football game, whatever football you. Let's take the European one because I know more about it. But it's like playing. The life is like playing a football game. If you are playing alone and there are 11 people against you, it's not fun, right? So that means you need to build some tools. You have to have some tools in your shed to be able to handle that, and you have to build the knowledge to be able to take on that. So, right, get some players, have some network. You know, build up your team. However, if you take away all the obstacles, if you take all the 11 players and you are alone in that playing field, shooting towards an empty goal, that's not a lot of fun. Maybe you enjoy the first two, three goals, but then it becomes boring. So life is all about the perfect balance of challenges and solutions that you come up with. So playing around with this is really the key, right? And sometimes challenges are great. You know, sometimes those 11 players are amazing, and you suck. Okay, so we need new tools. We need to find new ways in
Yeah.
managing that. Or sometimes, you need to have, okay, so I beat this team already twice. Let's go for a higher league. Let's aim higher. Let's get. And I really do love this analogy in life. And this is why when I tell the story, I never complain. And when I hear such stories such as yourself, I feel engaged. Yes, this is life. Congratulations. I hope
That's
you're enjoying it, because this is it, right? So this is what we are here for.
Yeah, that's right. I did an interview to my wife last week or 2 weeks ago because I mean she's part of their journey, right? And she had to be there the first time that I left work, and then along with myself and our kids. I have 4 kids. We were at some
Congratulations
point,
again.
and thank you, enjoying life, right? With money, with no
Yes,
no
exactly.
worries about it. And then, man, on the very ground, at some point, I had money for 1 week, and I was like, man, I hope that I start working because then I'm gonna have a big problem to feed my kids. But she's been very very helpful and supportive so far all these years, and I think that's a big part. I see a lot of talks where everybody says, right, the biggest decision that you have to make is the wife that you're choosing, because she can either push you or drop you down. So yeah, I think that's another
100%.
one. uh,
100%, right? So I don't
yeah,
know if we are here to talk about cafe and crypto, but we are talking about
I
life
mean
philosophy. But
it's
yes, that is 100%. That is absolutely 100%. This is the reason why I also the everything that I enjoy in life are themed about my wife and kids, because I respect them so much for being a part in this journey, right? In the difficult times, but also obviously
yes,
in the nice
the
times.
good
So
time.
yes, that's definitely very important who you share your life with.
Yeah, and the other thing that you were mentioning before we switch to crypto, sorry guys, if you're here for
No,
Radix,
I'm good. I'm good.
Radix
I
and
don't know
delay.
about your audience. I feel amazing.
Yeah, I really enjoy speaking about this because you cannot speak with well, myself, I cannot speak about this with a lot of people. So because most of them doesn't understand that why are you doing this, why are you leaving work, you're crazy. But I feel like I'm like that in different topics of life. And education, you were mentioning about the education, that you didn't finish university and you were able to be not just a owner, an investor, but also on the part that you were working grow. And I think that's also very very good to say, and to uh, tell everybody that is not really that road that everybody teaches to. Because I also I did went to university, I finished it, but I didn't get the diploma at the end.
Yes.
And I was able, and I managed get to manager levels and to direction levels without that
Without
education
that,
that
yeah,
is a necessary thing. No, that is not
yeah.
true. And with my
Look,
kids,
there are
we're
some things.
doing.
Sorry,
Yes.
continue. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say with my kids we're doing homeschool because I mean I think it's not really needed. At some point, yeah, university. Then I think that's gonna be a good place too. But when you do homeschool, I think that you're teaching your kids to really look for what they want. So it's something like what you were mentioning.
100%.
You're listening audiobooks, you go there and try to learn, and that's what we're trying to teach them because I think the world needs problem solvers, and in the
And
schools they don't teach.
we are not teaching kids to be problem solvers, 100%, right? So
Yeah.
I mentioned this many times also in the community. So I also do unschooling or homeschooling. So both of our
Wow.
kids, we teach them, me and my wife. This is why my son, I mean, my son obviously has his own, it's 9 years old, has his Revolut account, has his own wallet. He has a much better trading track record than me, right? So he really feels the charts in a very strange. Obviously, I taught him Radix, so he loves Radix and it's easy to use. This is also an amazing pitch, right? So you can teach a 9-year-old how to safely, securely use Radix, right? I even mentioned this, I think, in one of the spaces that I think he would have come to me with the complex transaction manifest that sadly drained a few wallets.
Yeah.
But so the, we, yeah, I don't want to express an opinion right now about that. Just back to the schooling, it's really important for them to understand how actually life works, to earn their own money, to earn their and to help them along the way. Obviously, they can fail. This is why we're here. We should be safety nets, but not more
Yeah.
than that, right? So we also need them to go out. So education is, oh my God, we could talk hours about this. I'm absolutely 100% on your side of the viewpoint.
Yeah, and I mean
And
for you.
one thing, sorry, just one thing
Sure.
to add about school, because my after my difficulties, one of my main fields, actually even before that, one of my main fields became psychology, mass psychology, as well as
Wow.
uh, personal psychology in regards mostly about revolving around fear, right? So fear is a very debilitating anxiety, panic attacks, and the more complex chain reaction of these, which could possibly even lead to depression, right? People think depression and anxiety are two different aspects, but actually no, many people develop depression because of the constant anxiety they are living. So fear is one very important debilitating factor to us as humans. And I was researching all this, and it's really really important to also teach kids how to manage that, especially because most of the trauma comes from school years, not necessarily school. You can have domestic issues as well, but those years are crucial. And starting from my wife, including all of my friends as well, they are shy because they developed that, or they were made fun of in school, or they were bullied, or maybe they were the bullies, right? And it
Mhm.
was a milieu where they could do that. So it's very, very important to be mindful. Not everybody has the potential to teach their kids at school, and I absolutely respect that. And even in my case, my daughter probably would be a very nice school kid because she would enjoy life. But even like that, I would know how to manage that and how to, yeah, okay, if you bring home the notes that you don't like because you don't like history or whatever, yeah, okay, just try to pass and relax, right? So you could have a much more relaxed way of approaching this, because success will not come from too early pressure. And this is, I think, a big misunderstanding. People think that no, you have to pressure so that you create successful people, but actually successful people are the ones who have a supportive, it can be challenging, but to have
Yeah.
a supportive background, some support. And all of the fears, all of the mistakes we make as traders or even in crypto is much, much greatly influenced by how we were raised, or all the issues that we've seen or we experienced from those years. So it's a very interesting issue and ties very well into crypto life and
Yes.
crypto trading as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I was speaking the other day with one guy about kind of all these topics that are not really related to crypto, but they are, because I was telling him, he asked, why are you doing homeschool? And I was trying to explain. And I said, I think it's the same thing that happened to me with crypto. When I first met crypto, I didn't have the ability to start as soon as you. I met crypto in 2018. I think my mind started to change a lot, and that's something that my wife was saying on the interview. Uh, this guy is not the same guy I married with, because he changed a lot when he
Yeah.
knew about crypto, and it's like breaking everything that you know and move to something different, and that's something that it opens your mind, not only for the economics or whatever finance, but also for other things in life, and I think that's one of them, education. And oh man, we could speak about a lot of other things that
Yes.
are similar to this, but yeah. Oh wow, I didn't expect this. But it has been a very nice talk.
No, sorry, I
So
told you I'm in a relaxed mood. If I'm in relaxed, I won't be talking about strategic. But let's talk about, I don't know how many
yes.
people stuck around to the crypto part. But let's ask me
Yeah, so
some crazy stuff. I'm ready to
so
answer some crazy
we
questions.
were I also use a lot ChatGPT to help with several things, right? And I did, okay, help me with some questions to ask Konstantin, go check his Twitter profile and all these other things. And ChatGPT came and told me that you're a strategic consultant and head of token of Radix DLT. Is that correct? Because I'm not sure.
No, so very good. Okay, let's start. This is also kind of juicy and interesting anyway. So when I was very actively involved with the community, there was only so much I could do as a community member, right? I
Yeah.
This was after the fun stories of the what everybody keeps mentioning, the cameos, from Tyson, Mayweather, and all this stuff, right? So this came after. Then I said, okay, let's see how we can actually help adoption. And there was only a limited amount of things that I could do at that time. And then I reached out to the team, and then we spoke. Obviously, I said, look, it might be a conflict of interest as well because I'm older, but I have, due to the nature of the business, I actually, without disclosing too many things, at that time until a few months ago, all the tokens were locked away, just to put away, and
Okay.
locked away in a sense only on a contractual form. So I could move freely around the ecosystem or take profits from staking rewards or whatever other um, uh, deals I've done within the network. But a big chunk of my tokens were locked away anyway.
Okay.
So then I started, actually, I was always an advisor to the team. I was never a team member per se, but in the original constellation, how RDX works was managed at that time. Uh, in order for me to be able to access information, be able to do to actually help out, I would have needed to be integrated as a team member. And then this is why that title kind of fell into place. But what were the things? I was the one who actually started going out with the team to events, right?
Okay.
One of the most famous events was at that time the Web Summit event. Um, a lot of networking has been done. This was the time where we went to 60 cents as well, because many things have happened in quick succession, right? So it was not Web Summit, but it was the visibility of Web Summit. It was Coinbase Wallet
Mhm.
announcing a listing, so on and so forth, of EXRD, right, at that time. Um, and then it was that. So it was the outside visibility. It was more of the networking side and more the event side, right? There was also the Dev Swarm event where we organized on multiple locations, workshops for developers, and was really good in getting more eyes. So most of the statistics you hear are heavily tied to all those things, because this is where we actually physically talked to developers, physically took developers from a different mindset and said, okay, look at crypto. look at this consensus, look at these dApps. And so that was my role back then, which also meant obviously heavy regulation. So even for me to sell any amount above, I don't know, 100 euros, I needed to sign documents. I needed to ask. So it was very, very heavily controlled, which was really, I really enjoyed that. This was something very different from anything else that I've experienced, because previously it was, crypto is crypto, but Radix was always trying to be future-proof, which is also kind of one of the things that possibly they have done wrong by planning too much and being more like a corporate, more like a corporation, right? So you could argue this, but at that time and even to this day, this is something I find very interesting. So this is why I was head of token, but this was just at my my title then. But then I after a short period of time, when they had the downsizing as well, I said, this doesn't look good that you're downsizing people, and I'm still there. I'm still part of the team. So at that time, we actually changed the contract to an actual advisory contract. And I am still to this day, I am an advisor of Radix Tokens Jersey Limited, right? Doing mostly still token related, like ecosystem related stuff on my own, but these I do anyway. But on the other side is actually something that we are in dire need of restarting again, to actively start talking with the exchanges again. It's a new year, right? So it's new.
Yes.
It's a kind of a new start. They need to figure out, and they are doing that already, right? So it's really not my place to talk about what they are doing. It's even borderline dangerous, but at this point, I don't think anybody would mind. But they are obviously working very heavily into releasing all these stuff that that have been announced, right? Antic Blend, and on the foundation side, then as well to keep this momentum of showcasing what Radix will be able to do, and RDX work what we can already do now, right? We don't need to. This is also my opinion, and I encourage everybody who can resonate with this to understand the meaning of having a network that has so many amazing things already. We don't necessarily need to bring new products and new features. Let's start working with what we have right now. It's kind of difficult because of the usual bottlenecks, which are the biggest one being the bridge, the trustless bridging, right? But hopefully, with all this liquidity coming in, and with all these alternative solutions, until those get, because they are coming, right? So this is not something that we forgot about them. It's everything is in the works. It's just the whole narrative needs to be built, and it doesn't need to come from me. It needs to come from them. And this was also one of the meeting elements today. So I'm very sure we will have more and more updates about that. And then we will have a much more robust, a little bit bottleneck free network where we can start showcasing, hey, you can make 70% currently, I think today's figure on Surge, right? You have these nice APIs on the root, and yes, hackability is kind of on the lower side of things, so it's pretty safe, and you can bring your assets over. So there is so much more that we could do. We just need to find this new energy for them to showcase again. Okay, let's do it one more time, right? You can always say with everything, this is true in raising a kid, marriage, everything. You can always look back and, yeah, but last time that didn't work. And why should it work this time? Yeah, because there is no choice. Either you give up and you say, okay, sorry, guys, I don't trust you anymore in being able to do this and that, which is perfectly fine. However, if you still decide to stick around into this very interesting, it's very, very interesting, this whole evolution of Radix, even to me, right? I'm not a zealous fan of Radix and Radix will conquer the world, right? But
Mhm.
I still hold, and I would rather hold everything I have in Radix up to zero, because that would be for me, this is my personal point of view, because there is so much more potential. It would be really stupid for me to give up when we have
Yeah.
stuff. We are not depending on promises. We have these things, right? And yes, they are not coming as we wish. And yes, mistakes were made. Of course, they were made, right? But there is so much potential there. So then let's stop mingling. The memes are good for this, right? Including delay, right? They are good. You're still early. Delay and all these jokes are perfectly fine, right? This is a very harmless way in managing our frustration. But then when the time comes and when something amazing gets released, then
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's push it as much as we can, because this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my point of view also in a nutshell about where we are with the current situation.
Sure. Yeah, I was yesterday. I had Adam here on a coffee and crypto as well, speaking about strategies and listings and all that stuff. And of course, no promises or anything, right? So basically, he was just saying similar to what you said, that we already have all these very good stuff with quality and quantity. So it's just matter of bringing more people, more users, and that's easy to say. It's hard to accomplish. Uh, but yeah, I think, and I see some every now and then I go to the Radix DLT chat, man, I see a lot of bad comments, and I'm like, why are you doing this? I mean, you have something very good here that we as a community need to push forward to bring more people to Radix, because once I tested it, I'm not leaving, because I really like what I see here. So I also see a very big potential in Radix. And I remember when I first joined, let's say, the community, because I've been holding Radix for a little bit more than 1 year. Thanks to Ivan on Tech, that I hope he speak about Radix again soon. But when I first joined the community, they were saying, no, forget about XRD, come and start playing with all these tokens. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that, but XRD is the main one, so I cannot really think, okay, I'm gonna solve all my XRD for this and that and that. No, that's not the way, because I think XRD has a lot to offer yet. We're just on the final phase of this position that XRD or Radix is right now, and it's gonna start pushing. But I think things like tier one listing would really help. Uh, uh,
Of course,
Adam,
yes. And I
what
would
Adam
say
said is
it's
that it's
I don't
hard.
think we are towards the end. I think we are still very much in the, I don't know, I wouldn't call it beginning. I don't want to have an early meme associated to me just because I said that we are still early, right? I wouldn't want to do that to myself. But we are definitely somewhere in the middle, where we have so much to do still, and so much potential. And you talk about the negative comments. That's just frustration,
Yes.
understandable frustration from the community. And there I see a team responsibility in understanding and managing that. So obviously there's a reason, right? And it's the same thing in human personal interaction as well. If I'm frustrated to you, and I keep saying that, if you start really listening to me, and if you really show that, and you show first and then you prove after that you have listened to me, I will eventually stop complaining, right?
Mhm.
I might have a lot to complain about, so you might need to listen a little bit more and to actually do something. But I 100% clearly see this in the hands of the team and foundation. They need to be able to suck it all up and to actually keep at it, to keep at replying and actually adjusting course based on those things.
Mhm.
And if that happens, there will be nothing to complain about. You can always complain about price, and there will be always people. There will be a 10 to 20% where something is not right, or this is not the right way, which is perfectly fine. But when you see a community like ours, you have to understand, oh, okay, so there is frustration in that. And see how the chat behaves when Dan and Piers, or even Adam and on all the others, right, when they are actively there and are replying to concerns. It just simply levels the field. It shows, okay, they're here, they are active. Now, obviously, they have much more important things to do than to constantly write in Telegram. I understand that. This is
Yep.
why it's very important to find the balance. But when I say, I'm of course I'm criticizing community as well. Stop complaining 24/7. That's absolutely not okay to complain 24/7. But to complain as is, of course, is understandable, and especially after this event, Breakout 2024, right? It's if everything turns towards good, if at the end of the month we showcase some amazing growth, amazing numbers, amazing chart, little wicks upwards, do you think anybody will be interested in in Breakout 2024? They will just make jokes that it was delayed and haha, and then my meme will get even more attention because Radix and actually all businesses are all about
Mhm.
delays. There is
Yeah.
nothing revolutionary new about delivering a little bit later than usual because you needed to adjust course in today's world. Nobody can have a fixed executed plan because there are so many factors changing regularly, right? So
Yeah.
yes, complaint is warranted. Please do complain if you feel that you need to, and then stop, and then hopefully at the same time the team will be able to also answer those worries and questions, and then it will be okay, and then we can start moving forward, right? This is
Yeah,
my
and I think
personal take on this.
I think it was like a mix of different things that happened in December. One, the delay on the test, and then some funds that were moved, and then we go to
Yeah.
the
Ooh,
to the
yeah.
holidays, and we didn't saw Dan and Pierre speak for about 2 weeks. So I think that everything got together and bring
Yes.
this bad feeling about it. And now I see. I think yesterday it just started seeing Pierce again and Dan on the chat. So like everything okay, let's level up and let's see how we bring to the next level.
So
So yeah.
full disclosure, they ghosted me as well, right? So I don't have any insider information in this. But I said to everybody that the only thing that I knew, I mentioned in the chat as well. I knew he had a small type of family drama, a small accident that has happened. He finally took a 1 week where, okay, completely off, and then was spent with hospitals and whatnot, right? The details will be shared by him if he wills, or maybe nobody will care. I don't know, but this is what actually has happened. And even I got this. Sorry, not available right now. I'm figuring this stuff out, right? Okay, so that has happened, and then came the first week of January, where honestly, even I would have said, okay, I just need to regroup now, and let's go. So whenever you listen to the other party, it's okay, it makes sense, right? So
Mhm.
probably I would have done the same. But again, this is again communication, right? It's always
Yeah,
about communication.
for
And if
sure.
that
Yeah.
communication slips, which is in the case in every company, every big corporation, it can happen at any time, right? Even the biggest key persons can disappear if they have things to solve. And if there are two key persons and both of them have issues, then both of them disappear, right? So it's
Yeah.
this is why the frustration is completely warranted. I wouldn't criticize the community in this regard, but this means, okay, hi, sorry, I had to f up, right? I did. Sorry, now, what do you do when you F up? You make it up for it, right? So I'm
Yeah.
here full on. I answer all the questions, all the things I need to make this, and then everything is good, right? This is how humanity works. So I
Yeah.
hope we will see
100%.
that dynamic unfold in the next few days.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see how it evolves. So, what do you think about listings? Do you think that it's gonna be achieved this year, or I mean, or
So let me think what I can answer there. I will also be, I was already, and now I will also be on point on some of the stuff here. What I can say is we because the markets were picking up as they were, and there were many interesting frogs and cats and dogs coming out, and they were much easily understood than and yes, there were also very sexy new layer ones who can do half of what we can. Some of them can do even more if you take the is status. So I'm not absolutely criticizing them by comparing them to Radix. I'm just saying there was a lot of trash, but a lot of easily digestible trash for the general public. So listing has shifted. Actually, this is a good approach. I will talk in general, right? Because not just as from Radix, in general. So listings, first of all, they have become the paid listings have become extremely expensive, but paid listings mostly fly with tier two onwards, right? So tier one exchanges, even if you throw money at them, uh,
They don't. They don't
they
have a space,
don't
right? Or,
they don't really budge, and it's also very risky to them. There might be, so I've heard of anecdotal events where the right person got the right amount, but we are talking crazy stuff here and crazy partnerships. So I wouldn't even want Radix mixed. If somebody would ask me, would you want this? I would say, I'd rather no. Because it's not worth it. So we also a little bit over um, intensify the meaning of tier one exchanges, but they need to happen. So this is why it will also become again one of my main focuses, and hopefully I will be getting some support here because I can do just a limited amount. I can do on the business development side and on the connection side, right? What I can tell you is, again, in a general sense, not talking about Radix, if a project would have had good relationships with some good tier one exchanges last year, chances are that, especially if they were not new projects, including Radix, is that the hot stuff were mostly attractive and listed first, and all the others were mostly told, it's good, it's nice, let's review it next year, right? So we are in next year right now,
yeah,
which means is a fresh new chance to reapply everywhere. It's a fresh new chance to make new connections, and and we really are about to refresh all of those things. One
okay,
thing that I can also share, because it's, if you were with us at any event, you could have seen this. If you were with me or with the team at some of the dinners that were organized with these key partners, you could have overheard or seen that we do have good contacts all around the space. It's not about the lack of good contacts. It's
yeah,
it's the fact that also we are not new, but it's not such a negative factor. So
yeah.
so I see in on my bingo card, I definitely see an X on one or multiple Q1 exchange listing as a good possibility this year.
Nice. Yeah, because that would be a good trigger. I mean, with the market conditions right now, I know today and yesterday and today it feels like
Yeah, yeah,
everything's
yeah,
it's over. But I mean, we know about the
yeah, yeah.
cycles and how they work. So
Yes,
it's
yes,
a good
yes.
timing right now. And anti coming and the hyperscale test. So I think good things are happening on the right timing. I don't know, maybe if we, I mean, if Radix launch a new round of YouTubers, big YouTubers, because I see like two phases of YouTube, big YouTubers speaking about Radix on the last, I don't know, year and a half, and then like 8 months before last 8 months, but then nothing. So I think that would be also very good to push again now in this new market condition. Maybe it would trigger with all this thing happening a good push because at the end, as you were saying, and I've seen it over the years, the price is the best promoter of
Yes,
any
yes,
project.
yes.
So
I
yeah,
absolutely agree.
we need the chart.
But one thing I would mention here, if we are already at the subject, if I would need, and full disclosure, I don't think Radix is about to hear my advice on this. But if I would need to advise based on my personal experience, a project, what to do or how to do in this case, I would say it's stupid to pay the crazy amounts of money that people are asking for paid advertisement nowadays. What I would personally do if I would run Radix, I would spend a nice amount of money to take the small and middle class people who are working to build up their channel, have a consistent push of everywhere. 100 people here, a few thousand there, 100,000 follower. So a cautious mention, right? Those to be the paid ones. And I would not pay for them to say X, Y, Z, because that, in my opinion, that was terrible. When I saw those big YouTubers and ex-influencers read the
Mm.
script, which was beautifully written, but it was cold and had zero effect, right?
Yeah,
Even the big ones, right? So I would not want to see that ever again, because that's just a waste of money and waste of either loan or token sell from the foundation, and we will be feeling that, right? So I would not want that. What I would want is multiple small bubbles popping up left and right, talking about consistently, talking about now, in 3 weeks later, again and again and again, and having, oh, here's another link, here's a Brazilian link, here is an Indian link, here is a whatever
yeah,
link, talking about Radix, small ones, and get the big ones organically, because there's nothing sweeter than somebody saying, look, this is because they will talk. If we do the test and we have all these small fishes talking about, do you think that they would miss out,
yeah,
or they would do lack? We don't talk about the, I don't know, world record in transaction speeds, which has been done. Might be the case, but you can only do that for so long, and maybe you don't even need that. How many projects we've seen rise to the top without these people, right? So it's not
yeah.
it's not no, you can reach success only through altcoin daily, or only through, I don't know, whoever we are, Coin Bureau or whatever,
Clark,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this would be my
It's more a
personal
community.
approach. Spend, give, help the small guy, help the ones, vet them, see who are working with, actually working to build a network, get them to work, have everybody constantly, regularly talk about Radix here, there, this channel, that channel, there and there, and then let the rest organically. And again, just to emphasize, the worst thing was those paid articles. Not only they had zero effect, they even had, man, if this is so
Negative.
great, why do they need to pay that? And why do they read it in such a boring way?
Yeah.
It's how I would approach this new year and this new cycle.
Nice, very good. So, full disclosure, I'm not getting paid by Radix by doing this coffee and cryptos. It's good because I really like it here.
Very
So,
good, very good. I'm also obviously not getting paid to be here,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Probably they
we're
wouldn't
almost.
like some of the things that I'm saying. So
Yeah, we're almost on the 1 hour mark, and we hadn't speak about delay. So let's spend the last
okay, let's speak about
minutes
today.
speaking about delay. So how did it start, and what do you think about it now after some weeks?
So as I mentioned, bathtub experiment was really fun, right? So it's not just launched on the really fun. It was really fun to launch delay and to see it have the initial hype. And then I realized, wait a minute, I'm a fully doxed person who just launched a meme coin. I have absolutely no idea. I didn't get any legal opinion on what I'm
Mm.
doing here. So, okay, I really need to distance myself from this whole thing, right? So this is when the burning has started. And this is when the idea came, actually, wait a minute, this could be an amazing social experiment to give full control over to the community, which was the initial idea. But then that started not to work really well, which is, again, it's a very complex philosophical question as well. Which one is better? Is the dictatorship or full democracy? And the good answer is none of these, right? So
Yes.
somewhere in the middle. But I don't want to be other than a chaperone, which when I came up with the term chaperone as well. The only thing that I do is all of the businesses that I'm doing, what I did in the past or currently in the future, will always have buy and burn aspect of it. If it's 1%, 10%, whatever it is, if the business is sweet, yeah, fuck it, 10% buy and burn. We will buy and burn delay, right? I want to make it as aggressively scarce as possible so that to warrant a fundamental, an inherent attribute where people can always rely on, right? So, yes, there might be some communities who get angry and they sell because they have a fight or whatever, right? But one thing
Always
is
happen.
for sure on the long term is that, yeah, we will have always less and less. And if it's up to me and hopefully up to other people as well, which I don't know if you've seen, but the community sent in a lot of delay to be burned into the buy and burn wallet, right? So we have this, we just introduced this, it's called, it's not tipping. Instead of tipping people, I know it, we had a very funny name for it. It's toast, right? Because it means to toast, but also to toast, right? So I
Yeah.
really like the pun intended there. And when I did the last burn, a lot of community members burnt a lot of the tokens. So there is still one thing which will be almost fully paid by me. The rest probably from some trading fees, but the bulk of it will be paid. And this is the development of the DAO. This will be one of the last, because I promised this and I don't want to fail on this. So the whole DAO background will be, again, the bulk of it will be paid by me, and this will be the last one where I actually take money and pay for something for a delay, because there is a much more effective way, which is still ongoing. There are so many deals going on, me supporting other ecosystems or providing liquidity, where from those revenues, I will always try to include delay. Not try, I will always include delay. The question is how much, by how much, right? To
Yeah.
regularly burn. And hopefully then the DAO, so the voting system, will also include purely, hopefully, right? So we are still debating it with the community. It's not just me, not just my decision, to actually burn as much as possible by proposing and voting. So one thing is for sure, delay will become more and more scarce over time. So on the long term, even if you don't do nothing, there might be some noise and hype and then crash and people taking profit and then people having fights and whatnot. But we will always have less and less delay. This will always be and always remain a very interesting social experiment where we run it as a community with the intention of taking all the negative aspects of life and somehow trying to well, this is nothing new I invented, right? Early was the
Yeah.
first ones who invented this, but we really try to include the community more in the decision making of how this will fare. So I think we just had a break now, a very welcome break, a good opportunity for everybody to come in. But when we start actually seriously discussing multi-chains and when we will have the actual good bullish multi-chain proposals, right? So the ones where people don't not afraid, and then the DAO and all the burnings actually regularly happening, I think we will resume the path to where delay should be. And if not, yeah, we got our answer as a social experiment. We can analyze what did we do wrong, right? It's very interesting.
Yeah. Nice. It's a very, very nice experience. I think that you're having fun during the ride, also with all the hips and everything that happened. Right. We were discussing on the mic test about all these text messages that we receive as, "Hey, can you
Yeah,
work with me to promote?" and all that stuff.
yeah,
That,
yeah,
oh, man,
yeah.
it's nonsense, but yeah, it's it has been a fun experience for what I can hear for your words. So nice. I think it's a nice price right now with all these fights and things going on. But it's typically what happened, right? There's pumps, dumps. But when there is fundamentals and there is work behind and a talks
Exactly.
person, I think it's a no brainer to join and just
And
have
it's
some fun.
fun.
And yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's fun, and everybody gets to play their emotions there, and they are important. They matter. It's a lot of fun.
yeah, so perfect. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks, Konstantin. I think that we hit the 1 hour mark. So thank you very much for your time. I know, as you said, it was a hard day. So now it's time for I hope family and fun, a little bit more fun later or the rest of your afternoon. And do you have anything else to add to before we shut it off?
Just this community has a lot of blood and sweat and tears and joy behind, and I'm just very happy to still be a part of it with everybody who is still left here to stay and to really hopefully see uh, the future evolve in a way that we were fighting for, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just happy. I'm happy to be here, and I thank everybody who even spent their time in watching these spaces. And I thank you very much for having me. It was a really chill and relaxed conversation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, me too. Thank you as well, and thanks for everybody watching right now in live or later on. Thank you, and have a good, nice, good and nice day. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.